You try this without God, you tripping. You tripping. See, for every time you have a plan, an aspiration, or a goal, this thing comes along called life. It happens to everybody. You're gonna lose somebody you care about one day. Somebody gonna close the plant you thought was gonna stay open so you could retire. That's a false hope to think you're gonna have a wonderfully carefree life.
I'm wondering this morning if there's anybody here that life has handed you something that you didn't expect. The one thing I can tell you for sure is that nothing is for sure. Life will often disrupt what you expected. That just as soon as you have it down in a nice, neat little box of how you think it's gonna go, it will never be what you expected it to be. So you gotta get used to being a little disappointed. You gotta get used to being a little bit shocked. You gotta get used to walking into situations and being flexible and adjustable. Because if you are not flexible, you cannot survive.
Sometimes we look at pieces in our lives that don't make sense. The key is what we do in our times of pain. Pain will change us. Every painful time, even though you don't like it, it's developing something in you that can only be developed in the tough times. Eventually, that will pass. You'll get through it, but you will be different in those tough times.
Many of you know that God will make things uncomfortable to get you out of your comfort zone, to put you in a place of purpose and destiny, to rise to the height of your calling and soar above your adversities and fly like the eagle you were created to be.
God never said that we would understand everything that happens along the way, but He did promise that it would all work out for our good. The key is what we do in our times of pain. If you go through a divorce, a legal battle, a friend betrays you, eventually that will pass. You'll get through it, but you will be different. Now, how the pain changes you is up to you. You can come out bitter, or you can come out better. You can come out with a chip on your shoulder blaming God, or you can come out stronger with a greater confidence in God. You can come out defeated, giving up on your dreams, or you can come out with a new passion, a new fire, excited about the new opportunities in front of you. All of us experience pain. My challenge, don't just go through it, grow through it. That difficulty is an opportunity to get stronger, to develop character, to gain new confidence. Anybody can give up. Anybody can let it overwhelm you. But you know what that's doing? Wasting your pain. That pain is not there to stop you. It's there to prepare you, to increase you, to develop you.
God is a merciful God. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't set you up to fail. You're tripping, man. Even if you're wrong, He forgives us. Just keep moving, man. It ain't nothing. Now look, I've had some painful moments in this like you. But hey, I look for the bright side, man. I expect something good to happen.
See, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective. See, a lot of us, because of our limited vision of ourselves, a lot of us who begin to focus on problems and enable them to overwhelm us, we begin to think that we have no options. We begin to believe that there's no way out. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences.
You're going to go through things that are not fair. It's easy to live discouraged, but if you'll just stay in faith and keep moving forward, in time, God will make all things beautiful. Nothing beautiful about going through a loss or dealing with an illness. Just give it some time. You don't have to live worried. God is working behind the scenes. What you thought was going to limit you the rest of your life, the bad break, the mistake you made, that is not how your story ends. Beauty is coming. It's going to turn out better than you've imagined. God will make all things beautiful. Not just the good breaks, not just the promotions, that's obvious. But He'll make the disappointments, the mistakes. That's how awesome our God is. Don't give up on your dreams. Bitter over the person that walked away or upset over the contract that should have been yours. Let it go. God saw what happened. He said He would pay you back double for the wrongs. He just needs some time. Now, while you're waiting, stay in faith. When is it ever going to turn around? This is not fair. Pass the test. Keep going to work with a good attitude. At the right time, you're going to see Him show out in your life in such a way that you don't think about what you've lost. You're so fulfilled, you don't dwell on the negative things in your past. You keep honoring God, and He's going to make up for what you didn't get. He's going to have the right people come to you to push you into your purpose. He knows who left you out. He knows the times you didn't think you could go on. He's going to do something awesome in your life. Perhaps you went through a breakup. You're hurting. You're lonely. God is not finished. He's not going to leave you depressed. He has someone amazing coming where you're going to be happier and more fulfilled than you've ever been. Don't judge the rest of your life by one difficult season. Thoughts will tell you it's never going to change. Just accept it. Don't believe those lies. God promised He will make all things beautiful. Now here's the key. Just give it some time. The mistake we make often is we get in a hurry. Voices whisper, if it was going to happen, come on, man, it would have happened by now. Trust the process. All things in its time will be beautiful. If it hasn't happened yet, then it hasn't been the right time. When it's your time to see beauty, promotion, vindication, it will happen. How we wait is important. If we wait upset, God, why did these people do me wrong? That's going to delay the beauty. The right way to wait is in an attitude of faith, knowing that He's working all things for your good, expecting His favor. This difficulty didn't come to stay, it came to pass. God being for me is more than the world being against me. God knows how to make all things beautiful if you'll just give Him the time. You don't understand, it wasn't fair, just keep moving forward. God is not going to waste anything you went through. You're about to come out to new levels, see favor that you've never seen. Quit believing those lies that you've had too many bad breaks. You have a good reason to live sour. Look at what you've been through. That was all setting you up for something you've never imagined. Things that were meant to harm you, struggles that have tried to discourage you, bad breaks that should have limited your life. This is a new day. You're about to see vindication, new opportunities. The tide is turning in your favor. What was meant for your harm, God is turning to your advantage. That there's a time for weeping, a time for loss, but that is not the end of the story. God also said He will make all things beautiful in its time. There's a time for restoration, a time for deliverance, a time for celebration. Give God the time, He'll make all things beautiful.
And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream.
You have to act in congruence with both of those combined. One missing from the other can cause us to make poor choices.
Environment is everything. There's a quote, I don't know whose quote it is, but there's a quote that says, everyone is a genius.
Wish for more skills. That's the reason for coming here, spending a couple of days of intense effort, taking notes, rolling up your sleeves, going to work. Commit yourself to learning so that you can get smarter for the days ahead.
I wish that I could tell you that the load you carry will get lighter. It won't. As time passes, you'll find it will get heavier. The mountain that you need to climb will get higher. The ocean that you need to cross will get wider. Trust me when I tell you that you don't want to wait. Indecision is a decision. A decision to fail, a decision to waste your potential.
Both of them missing is a choice not to choose, and will lead us into pain and mediocrity, worry, fear, and all the emotions we don't want. Having one of them in place will guide you to a decent destination. But when you have both combined, the identity and the choosing, the conscious intentions for the emotions you want, you begin to have great choices being made in your life on a very regular basis. Not every day, not every time, not every moment, but enough of the time where you make progress towards your dreams, progress towards the man or woman you're capable of becoming. And when you have the combination of these two things, these patterns begin to change. We begin to replace them. So I'd ask yourself today, what are the patterns you're running that don't serve you? Begin to be aware of those patterns. Know who your real identity is. Get conscious of choosing bliss over blank.
Here we talk for an hour, there's distractions and emails. There it's total focus, and we go for immersion where literally what we did here over 6 weeks, a few little conversations, all that happens over and over again, multiple times a day, and you get that shift. So come to an event or call up and get a coach. We have people that you can work with and have a free coaching session and make sure it's really valuable for you. But these are people that can check in with you to help make sure you break through, you make the changes you want to make in your career or your finances or your body or your emotions or whatever area matters to you. And finally, lastly, and probably most importantly, every day you got to feed your mind. Because every day most of us are turning on, some form of news. It shows up in our pocket, in our Blackberries or iPods or our iPhones, I should say. It shows up on your computer constantly. It chases us, and it rarely does a good idea interrupt you.
See those patterns when they're happening. Interrupt them. Continue to work on your identity. These two things combined, I think, are the critical components to making the decisions and the choices in our life. That when we look back, I don't want you to end up in your 80s or 90s and regret the choices you made. I want you to go back. I put it through what I call the rocking chair test. That someday for all of you who I love so much, who I believe in so much, I want that rocking chair test for you to pass it. And that is, I'm proud of the choices I made. My life wasn't perfect. I made some mistakes, but I chose the emotions I wanted. I worked on my identity. I created patterns that empowered me and the people around me. And you know what? By and large, I'm proud of the choices I made in my life. I'm proud of the man or woman I've become. That's how we know we've had a great life. I don't want you to be in that rocking chair someday and regret the choices you made, regret the patterns you ran, and that you just unconsciously went through your life without choosing.
Really what you have to do is pursue the ideas, pursue the experiences that are going to change your life. And we have a way to do it called net time, no extra time. A way where you can keep feeding your mind the stuff that really matters with some products or services. So if you're interested in any of those things, be sure to click on your interest of an event or interest in having a free coaching session, or maybe try one of our audio programs, because the other challenge here is with video, you got to sit here potentially and watch me, but with audio, you can do it while you're working out, you can do it while you're cleaning the house, you can do it while you're driving in the car, while you're getting to work. We'd love to continue serving you in any way we can. I know I've gone long in this session, but I really want you to think about, how can I get my life the way I want it to be? The way I do it is I figure out what my blueprint is and I update it for what life is. I change my life, match my blueprint, and suddenly my life feels full and alive. Thank you for the time that we spent together here. I've really enjoyed our time, and I hope that this breakthrough series reminds you to never settle for less than you can be. Never settle for less than you can give or you can share. Live strong, live with passion, and God bless.
Time won't wait for you. Time doesn't wait for anyone. The clock keeps ticking in life. There are no timeouts, no breaks, and no rest stops. Remember something else, that if planet doesn't work, there are 25 other letters in the alphabet. This isn't 3 strikes when you're out. This isn't baseball. It's the real world. And that means there's no limit on how. Many times you're allowed to try. The only time your dream dies is when you decide to quit.
But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb trees, it will spend the rest of its life thinking that it's dumb. Let me say it again. Everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb trees, it will spend the rest of its life thinking that it's dumb. You survive and environments other people drown in. Because water might drown you, but it's home for a fish. Difficulty is that's not water you drown in. That's perfect conditions for you to swim. Difficulty? You a believer? This is what we do. This is what we do. Don't be careful when you compare yourself to people who don't have the anointing you have.
A philosophy that commits itself to having the finest no matter what it costs. That kind of philosophy. I'm asking you to develop your own personal philosophy. Get your business philosophy going. Get your financial plan going. Don't violate the conclusions of your own philosophy by not executing and taking action. But that's number 2, get smart. Here's number 3, get going. As smart as you might become after these 2 days, as many ideas as you take away from here, they're truly, as Larry mentioned, like seeds to be planted in the soil. You got to get going. You got to take action. The disciplines is the miracle process.
You need to be ready for what's to come when the darkness sets and when you feel like you can't take another step forward. Believe in yourself. You will keep going. You will persevere. You will weather the storm. Trust in yourself, the kind of trust a bird has. You see, the bird doesn't put its trust in the branch. It puts its trust in its own wings, so when the branch breaks, it can still fly. Again, you can weather any storm you can. Withstand anything the world throws at you.
Who don't have the call that you have, who don't have the purpose that you have. I know what it did to them, but it don't mean it's gonna do that to you. Difficulty doesn't kill who you are, it actually reveals who you are. Can I tell you something? You ain't met the real you until you have to use your power. That's the real you. You are treasure in jars of clay. Clay is not the real you. High you, that's not the real you. Smoking weed, you, that ain't the real you. Drunk you is not the real you. Because whenever you get into it, you start to feel alive. That anxiety you, that's not the real you. That clay has convinced you that that's who you are.
And here's how to get the miracle of your future going as far as disciplines are concerned. Number 1, do what you can. You might go home and set a whole new pace for yourself, and we call it cleaning up neglect. Should walk around the block, could walk around the block for your good health. Don't walk around the block. See, you're on the wrong track. Should read, could read, don't read. On the wrong track. Should call, could call, don't call. On the wrong track. Could change, should change, don't change. You're on the wrong track. Letters you haven't written, conversations you haven't had with your family, somebody you should sit down with when you get back home, get that job done. Don't let neglect destroy your days, destroy your life, and destroy your future. Go back and do what you can. And if you'll do what you can, then life will give you some extraordinary things to do.
Remember that the safest path brings the least reward. Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start believing in what could go. Right, there may be a million reasons you're afraid to follow your dreams, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go after what your heart desires. Dare to face your fears. Dare to take risks. Dare to be better. The real question is, how bad do you want it, and what are you willing to do to get it? Within you is a power far greater than you can imagine.
Even if I desire to do it, I can't do it. No, because it doesn't fit, because of my vision of myself and the contribution that I want to make to life. Because it's not enough to give the message. You must also be the message. That we must give out of a sense of oughtness. Immanuel Kant, in the book called Critique of Pure Reasoning, he says sometimes we must give out of a sense of oughtness. That there's certain things that happen that we just say something ought to be done about this. Now, the reason that most people don't give is because they operate out of a consciousness of scarcity. They don't believe that there's enough to go around. They can't see themselves having the capacity to give. They don't believe that they have anything to offer. They don't see themselves as an opening for the universe to work through. So if you begin to look at this new era that we're in, Begin to see yourself as an opening for the universe to move through, to work through, to make a difference in life. See yourself being used by life to improve the quality of life, to expand and to grow. Most people have a very limited view of themselves and a very limited view of the universe, do not see their relationship to the universe, and cannot see how energy and things can flow through them. I love Gibran and the prophet. Then said a rich man, speak to us of giving. And he answered, you give but little when you give of your possessions, but it's when you give of yourself that you truly give. Gibran goes on to say, there are those who give little of the much which they have, and they give it for recognition, and their hidden desire makes their gifts unwholesome. And we know people who give only to be recognized. I love that old saying, judge a man not by what he does, but by that he doesn't have to do. And to judge the true quality of a man is what do you do when nobody's looking. Gibran goes on to say something else important. He says, and there are those who have little and give it all. These are the believers in life and the bounty of life. See, most people don't give, ladies and gentlemen, because they don't believe in life. Most people don't give because they don't understand the abundance in life. And so they go through life holding back on life, not understanding this also, that what you hold back from life, life holds back from you. So most of us go through life, ladies and gentlemen, not giving, and we're cheating ourselves.
I say, hey man, is the gig still available at Showtime at the Apollo? He said, yeah, we got one opening left. I said, I'll be there. So I called Eastern Airlines, who used to be open back then. They had a special for $99 going from Jacksonville, Florida to New York round trip. So I parked my car at the airport. I got everything I had was in 2 bags. Got to the Apollo. I said, hey man, I'm here. I got there at 11 o'clock in the morning. He said, you can't stay here because you don't come on to the late show tonight. I said, man, I ain't got nowhere to go. I said, if you just let me stay in this building, man, I ain't gonna move around nothing. I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm in Harlem. I can't go back out here. I got these 2 bags. I got victim wrote all over me, man. So he said, all right, if you go upstairs, don't come down. So he put me in the dressing room on the 6th floor. So that's where all the comedians were. So I stayed up there. I got hungry around 3 o'clock, man. I couldn't take it no more. So I went back downstairs, a dude named Alton Liston. I said, hey man, he said, man, I thought I told you, don't come down them damn steps. I said, hey man, I'm just hungry, man. I said, let me go to that KFC I saw on the corner. Just let me get some chicken. I'll come right back. He said, man, if you ain't back in 20 minutes, you ain't getting in this building. So I went, bought me some chicken, came back. So the comedians started coming in the building. They started coming up on the 6th floor. So I meet this guy named D.L. Hughley. I introduced myself. He introduced himself. I'm sitting there, another guy come in named Dwayne Johnson. Then this other dude walked in named Jamie Foxx. And I introduced myself. We don't know each other. Ain't none of us famous. It's 1991, man. They gave everybody the lineup. I was on the last show of the night. I don't go on to 11 at night. I done had this 4 pieces of chicken. I'm starving, man. That chicken done wore off. I'm nervous, man. I'm about to throw up. D.L. Hughley went downstairs. D.L. Hughley got booed off. Dwayne Johnson got booed off. Jamie Foxx went down there and got booed. They booed Jamie, then Jamie started singing. And then they started clapping. And Jamie had their ass, then he went back to them jokes, and they got his ass. So I'm walking down the steps and I see Jamie sitting on the steps. I said, hey man, hang in there. He said, man, that ain't never happened to me before, man. This is crazy. This Jamie Foxx, man, one of the most talented people in all of comedy. And now, you don't even know how nervous I am, man. I can't even, my breathing is shot because these dudes been booed. So I walk out, I had wrote this joke. Mike Tyson had got in a fight in Harlem with this heavyweight named Mitch Green. Mike Tyson had hit the dude in the eye in the store. Now he was on the news, his eye was swollen. So the joke I wrote was, they was interviewing Mitch Green and he was telling everybody what happened, but his eye took over the interview. And I wrote this joke that his eye started talking and was just, I tell you what happened.
The heavyweight champ's fist is coming towards my face. I just said, Lord, Lord, Lord.
And I wrote this whole joke about this dude's eyeball talking. And when the punch came, and all this here, the Apollo, man, they went crazy. They lost their mind. I got a standing ovation, man. I walked off stage, man, just started crying. I couldn't believe it. They paid me. I made $750 for being on TV for one night. I'd never made $750 telling jokes in one night. And so that was my first television appearance. A couple weeks later, Sinbad was the host of the show. He got this job on Different World. And so he quit. And so Mark Curry became the host. And then Mark Curry got hanging with Mr. Cooper, and he quit. And they came to me and said, would you come back to New York and host amateur night for us to just try you out? Oh, ain't no problem. And so I went to New York. I hosted amateur night, and I was killing. But every time we went to commercial break, I was supposed to let the warm-up act take over like Ruben does. But I knew not to let the warm-up act do that because he would change the attitude of the crowd, because the Apollo was a wild place. So I stayed out there. I did the warm-up and the hosting. And I created a bond with that audience. And that's how I got on TV. It was my very first TV show. I hosted Showtime at the Apollo. I ended up being the longest running host in the history of Showtime Apollo. I did that show for 8 years.
All life form strives to the max of its potential except human beings. All life form strives to the max of its potential except human beings. How tall will a tree grow? As tall as it possibly can. You never heard of a tree growing half as high as it could. No, trees don't grow half. A tree drives its roots as deep as it can, reaches as high as it can, produces every leaf it can, every fruit it possibly can. To the max. Every life form strives to the max, except human beings. Now, why not human beings? You've been given the dignity of choice. You're not a robot. You don't have to repeat this year the same as last year. You can tear up last year's plan, develop a new plan. So, the dignity of being a human being. Now, here's the choice on being a human being. To be part of all we were meant to be, or to be all. To strive for all, or half, or part, or some. The choice is up to you to develop one skill or 10 skills. Someone says, well, I'd be happy with just one more language. Well, some say, hey, I'm going to learn 6 or 7. And this is all a matter of choice. And when someone says, no, you ought to learn 4, you've got to resist all that. Because this is personal dignity. And you don't want to destroy someone's dignity by doing all the oughts, and they feel reluctant to do it. Now we've got problems. So if you want to, just ignore this subject on time management. Now here's the next one. Step down to something easier. The guy's in sales and he says, oh, I want to own the company. Finally owns the company. Now he's got no time to play golf. He said, when I was in sales, I was making big money playing golf 3 days a week. Heck with this owning something. Heck with managing. My life was never my own after I started to manage. I'm going back to sales. See, this is the key. If you're getting too pressed, you might consider stepping down to something with a little easier time pressure.
Think about Mr. Washington. Young man, yes, sir. What do you want to do with your life? I want to buy my mother home, sir. I want to take care of my mother. I want to make my mother proud. How can you say you want to make your mother proud and you were in the dean's office the other day for fighting? Sir, they call me DT, the dumb twin. How do I get even, sir? Tell me. They pick on me all the time. I'm not like my brother. They always compare me to him. Mr. Brown, you want to get even? Yes, sir. Remember these words by Frank Sinatra. The best revenge is massive success. Become massively successful. That's how you become even. Mr. Brown, why did you sign those papers? I fought for you. I saw something in you. You've got greatness in you. I know you're not as fast as your brother, but there's a hunger in you, sir. And I saw your name. I couldn't believe it. Why did you do that? Several teachers met with me and said that you wouldn't be with me at Florida A&M University to help me. I would not make it at Florida A&M. You've been like a father to me. I never would want to bring embarrassment to your name. He said, I don't care what they said, but did you believe that you could go there and graduate? No, sir. Not without you, sir. Listen to me. Yes, sir. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. Let us say together, it's possible. I can live my dreams. I will work on myself. I will retrain my thinking every day. I would read 10 to 15 pages of something positive every day. I will turn off my television and turn on my life. Let us say together, it's necessary to detoxify your life. Look at the people in your life and ask the question, what is this relationship doing to me? There are some people you need to let go. Let us say together, let go or be dragged. They're emotional vampires. They will drain you. Les, can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself. There's some people that's so negative, they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop. You're talking about earning more money. You got to be serious. People say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. Here's something else. Write this down. You're going to fail your way to success. There are people who should be there to encourage you. They're going to be the #1 members of the discouragement club. When you have a dream, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will have tribulations. And don't complain. Don't go around telling everybody. 80% don't care. 20% glad it's you. Suck it up and make it happen. Everybody, let us say together, leap and grow your wings on the way down.
Believe it or not, every successful person has jumped. You cannot just exist in this life. You have got to try to live. But to get to that life, you're going to have to jump. See, God, when he created all of us, he gave every last one of us a gift at birth. You just got to quit looking at gifts as running, jumping, singing, dance. When you're standing on the cliff of life and you see people soaring by, you hear about them doing wonderful things. Maybe you look up the street and your neighbor just gets a car every year, every 2 years. Have you ever thought, maybe this person right here has identified their gift and is living in their gift? But the only way for you to soar is you got to jump. You got to take that gift that's packed away on your back. That gift opens up and provides the soul. If you don't ever use it, you're going to just go to work. That ain't living, man. You just existed. But the only way to see what living like, you got to jump. Let me just be real with you. When you first jump, your parachute will not open right away. You're going to hit them rocks. You're going to get some cuts on you. You're going to be bleeding pretty bad. But eventually, the parachute has to open. That is a promise of God. It has to open, man. You can play it safe. And you can stand on that cliff of life forever safe. I got another promise I can make you. You never know what God really has. If I were you, I would jump. You got to jump, man. You got to take a chance. God hold you up, man. He ain't gonna let you fall. Do yourself a favor, man. Before you leave this world, jump. Just jump one time.
You got to be willing to risk people talking about you. You got to be willing to fail again and again. We live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential, and so most people just can't see themselves doing better. People go to jobs that they hate, 87% of Americans, and guess what? And they pray they don't get fired. No, I ain't going out like this. And people think you're crazy, and you are. You got to have another mind in you that says, I got this. This is my life. Nobody's going to tell me how much I'm worth, what time I can take a lunch break. No, I got this. Mr. Washington said, Mr. Brown, transform your mindset. Number 2, he said, practice only quality people. You want only quality people. Here's something else he said. Mr. Brown, yes, sir. Develop your communication skills. He said, once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And then he said something else. He said, you got to be hungry. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, people that are hungry are relentless. People that are hungry are unstoppable. People that are hungry, no excuse is acceptable for not making their dream become a reality. Hungry, sir, for another life. I'm not going to die here in Liberty City. I want to travel, sir. He said, practice only quality people. If you run around with 9 broke people, he said, I guarantee you, you'll become number 10. Listen to these audio programs I'm giving you every day. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Jim Rohn, every day. Program your mind, Mr. Brown. Are you willing to do that, to be successful, to buy your mother home? Yes, sir. You've got some goals that you want to achieve. And you've said to yourself, I'm willing to face the no's. You said to yourself, I'm willing for people to laugh at me. You said to yourself, I'm willing to make this happen. I can do it. If anybody's ever done it at any point in time in history, then what's possible for one, it's possible for me, and I'm going to do it. He said, you got to expect to become successful. Let us say together, I expect to win. I expect to become a millionaire. It's my time. It's hard. It's worth it. Your homework assignment, and write down 5 reasons that will make it worth it for you. So when the tough times come, when you feel like you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, your reasons will be your rod and staff to comfort you.
Mr. Shelf put it to me this way. He said, Jim, if you had enough reasons, you could do the most incredible things. See, reasons will change your whole life. You've got enough intelligence, but not enough reasons. Here's what else I found out. Reasons come first, answers come second. Some people do well for respect. Some people do well for the way it makes them feel. They love the feeling of being a winner. Next is family reasons. Some people do extremely well for other people. That might be one of the most stimulating reasons to do well. Good question tonight. What's got you bombed out of sight to get up early and stay up late and hit it all day? I've fallen out of the sky a few times, but I've never lost that drive to make something unique out of my life. See, reasons altered my whole life.
And that is, everyone here is in business, and there's a problem that all businesses have. We're in the most competitive environment we've ever been in. We went from, 500 million people being online to a couple billion people being online. And in the next 4 years, they're saying we're going to have 3 billion more online. That means this entire world is a bigger market. If you're the person that adds more value, it also means you're going to have more competitors than you've ever seen in your life. How many think the economic world that we're in today is going to stay the way it is? Raise your hand. Okay, one man on drugs, there's always one. How many think that the economic environment's going to go through seasons? We're going to have some more ups and downs as we adjust to what's happening in the world here. Say I. Well, then if we know that, our goal, you and I as leaders, should be to anticipate that. In fact, everyone in this room is a leader of something, whether you're the leader of the company or whether you're a leader of a department or whether you're a parent or hopefully you're a leader, not a follower. If you're a leader, you've got to exercise that skill. And so I want to talk to you about that and one of the most important skills of that. But most people don't exercise that leadership because they're dropping behind in their skill sets. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. How many of you in this room, I want an honest answer. I'd like you to yell the answer, raise your hand if you would, please. How many of you in this room have ever experienced the absolute total humiliation of playing a video game against the child? What happens when you play the child? Who always wins? Come on, who wins? Always. Why? Is it because they're faster? Is it they're smarter? They're younger? Their neurons are functioning at a quicker tempo? Here's how it usually works. You're a mother or father, you're an uncle or an aunt, you're a grandfather or grandmother, you're a friend of the family, you're looking for a gift. We live in a tech world, in a world where today children play with an iPad and learn how to use it before they know how to tie their shoes. How different is that world? I was with Mark yesterday with his daughter for her 6-year-old birthday, and we're talking about things, and she's got these Legos, and a friend of ours says, oh, my 6-year-old goes on the iPad, searches on YouTube for videos on how to build cool stuff using Legos, and starts to study how to build all these structures. That's the world we're in that our kids are in at 6 years old. And imagine what else they're searching for and finding at 6 years old. It's a wild, wild world. So here we are with this technology, and most of us are not seeing what it's doing for us. So you sit down with this child who's high tech, you're not. Even the techies in this room aren't usually as gamers. I know there are plenty of gamers in the room, but there's plenty not. And then what does the child do? The child says, oh, come on. Go, look, I'm not good at this. This is for you. Come on, uncle. Come on, auntie. Come on, mom. Come on, dad. It's my birthday. It's Christmas. They use the guilt approach, don't they? And what do you find? You finally break down. Okay, now you should know you're being set up when they go, you go first, right? And they go, look, it's really simple. You just shoot these guys and it all drops down and you think, okay, I'm gonna show this little bastard I can do a thing or two here, right? Take out the gun and you're dead in 2.3 seconds. Whose experience is say I? Now what happens to the child? About 45 minutes later, you get your second turn. Am I right? And then you're really pissed. You're dedicated, you're devoted, you're focused. You're gonna take this thing out. You last 4 seconds and you're dead. Out of the side of the head. The kid, 45 minutes again. Who's had this experience? Say I. Why? Does the child always win? Is it because they're faster? Is it because they're smarter? Is it because they're stronger? No, it's because they played this game before. As a result, they have the secret to success. They know the road ahead. And if you know the road ahead, you have an incredible power called anticipation. Anticipation is the ultimate advantage. See, winners, leaders anticipate, losers react. The reason you get beat is you don't know where things are happening, so you're reacting. Reaction is always stressful. And yet so much of our life is predictable if we just were to study it, not be caught up in our day-to-day. It's predictable the challenges you're gonna have in your relationships, or with your kids, or with your body, or with your job, or with your economics, or with your mother-in-law or father-in-law. These are predictable. And if you were to anticipate these things and put a strategy in place, you could take it all out and have the quality of life that you deserve. In business, it's everything.
Success is predictable, and success is predictable because life is designed for your success. But failure is also predictable because failure is the same result as success. Let me explain what I mean. God designed everything he created to be successful. You will never see a bird who cannot fly naturally. You'll never see a fish who cannot swim naturally. Every seed, if you put it in the ground and give it water, you don't need to pray. It is designed to bring forth a tree. Everything God created has built into it its own success. And if the plant is here today and gone tomorrow, how much more important are you to God? The average human being does not know why they're on planet Earth. They wake up every morning, go into a job they hate, working with people they don't like, getting paid less than they're worth, and dying too young from frustration because they don't know why they exist. Without a purpose, life has no meaning. It has no sense of destiny, no sense of precision. The average human on earth have no idea about their ability. 90% of the human population will die and never achieve more than 10% of their true ability. This is the frustration of all humans. Every human wants to be successful. I have never met any human who said, I plan to fail tomorrow. No human wants to fail. Am I right? Everybody wants to succeed. But I have some good news for you. Write this down. Success is predictable. What is my destination? Everyone wants to know, what is my future? Where am I going in the next 20 years, 40 years? What will I be when I am 75 or 82? What is my destiny? The greatest tragedy in life is life without a purpose. Nothing is worse than being alive and not knowing why. breathing oxygen and eating food and getting energy and don't know why you have it. To live for 80 years and still didn't know why you were here. That's a tragedy. Your success is important to God. God needs you to succeed. When I discovered this, I became very bold. I discovered this when I was 17 years old. I discovered that God needed me to succeed because success is built in to creation by every manufacturer. Success is important to every manufacturer who makes a product. So the success of the product is necessary to protect the reputation of the company. So the worst thing that can happen to a manufacturer is when his product fails. His entire reputation and company can be destroyed. So success is necessary for the manufacturer. You are a product, and the first thing the manufacturer placed on you is his image. The manufacturer says, let us make a product in our image.
And Shoaff taught me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. He quoted me a Bible phrase that said, as you think, so you become. How awesome. When he talked about poor thinking habits, he had me. I used to start the day reading the morning newspaper. I mean, you can believe that or not. I'd get a cup of coffee and read the paper. I'd load up on wars and riots and murders and stabbings and killings and bank robberies and muggings and car wrecks and tragedies. I'd even read the back pages. I seem to like that stuff for some weird reason. I'd load up on all that, and then I'd start the day. You can imagine the kind of days I used to have. The guy says, I want to be a great leader. Wonderful. The first thing we do is follow him to his house. When we get there, we walk in and check his library, number one. Somebody says, well, why check his library? The reason is because what a man reads pours massive ingredients into his mental factory, and the fabric of his life is built from those ingredients. You would not believe what some people have got in their house to read. You would not believe. One of the best dressed up words I know for a lot of it is trash. Can you imagine dumping a barrel of trash into this mental factory every day and coming out with a rich, dynamic, positive life? It can't be done. You might as well try making a cake with cement. The kids back in Danbury, Connecticut, high school, they're asking me questions one day. I'm talking to the kids. Kids got good questions these days. One of them said to me, Mr. Rohn, how do you build the good life? I said, it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Here's how you build anything. Select the right ingredients, keep out the wrong ingredients, and it starts with thought. Everything starts with thought. So you must be wise and careful what you think about, because that starts everything. I asked the kids, what would happen if somebody dropped sugar in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be okay. I said, what if somebody dropped strychnine in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. Lesson one. Life is both sugar and strychnine. You gotta be careful. I said, what if my worst enemy drops in the sugar? They said, will you be okay? I said, what if my best friend, even by accident, drops in the strychnine? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. Lesson two, watch your coffee. You gotta be careful. See, it doesn't matter who hands you the bad stuff. It doesn't matter where you get the bad stuff. It'll still do its damage on your bank account. Mr. Shoaff gave me one of the greatest phrases when I first met him when he said, Jim, every day stand guard at the door of your mind. How important. And you decide what goes into your mental factory. Don't let anybody just dump anything they want to in your mental factory, because you've got to live with the result.